Good morning, everyone. Pam Jacobson, your host of Three Things You Need to Know. Welcome. I'm happy that you're all here with me today. For those of you who've not met me before, my name is Pam Jacobson, and I am board certified in functional medicine. I work with clients all over the country, helping them to optimize their health and restore their vitality and the quality of life they deserve. I put my contact information in the chat area for all of you. If you're watching this as a video later, probably the easiest way to reach me is just call us at 714-730-2233. So let's get started. You probably have noticed in the formatting for each week that I have been choosing a particular nutrient to talk about. I think it's a good idea. The standard American diet, or even those of us that tend to, choose a healthier approach to nutrition, we are often deficient in some very important nutrients. So I think it's a good idea to point out where there may be some areas that you could use some help. And this is a very important nutrient called L-Carnitine. It's an amino acid, so it's a protein building block, super important for really basically every function and structure in the body. But L-carnitine in particular is an amino acid that helps to shuttle fat into the mitochondria to burn for fuel. So it's common. You'll see it commonly used in supplements that are used for athletic performance, weight loss, fat burning. But it has a lot of other really important, because it's an essential amino acid, so you have to have it. It's very important for some other functions in the body. It increases endurance, it enhances weight loss, it can boost brain function. I created a product line for a company that I consult with called Level 10 Health, and we have L-carnitine in a couple of our supplements, one of which is our brain formula. So L-carnitine, super important for the brain. It helps regulate blood sugar, and one of my favorites is that it also helps accelerate your weight loss through improved fat burning. So lots of good reasons to use L-carnitine. You do get it from your diet, but mainly from beef. So if you are not eating red meat or not eating very much red meat, or you're vegan or vegetarian, you're likely to be a bit deficient in L-carnitine. And so that is something you may want to consider. You can supplement L-carnitine. There's a number of different forms. Some are between 500 and 2,000 milligrams a day. It is considered generally safe. In large doses, it can create some GI upset. However, this is something that, again, it is readily available in the diet, but really from an animal protein standpoint, and largely by a huge margin, largely in beef type products. So if that's something that you're not doing in your diet, you might want to consider supplementing with L-carnitine. You will find it usually not necessarily as an amino acid you would take all by itself. It's usually in a formulation with other things. And like everything I talk about on Three Things You Need to Know, I can help you with access to high quality L-carnitine products, whether you want something for athletic performance or weight loss, or you're looking to help yourself in the brain department. Just reach out to me, and I'm happy to either custom formulate a product for you or give you access to an online resource for all of the top quality nutraceutical manufacturers that I use on a regular basis. So there you have it. L-carnitine, really important. Make sure you consider that as part of your daily nutrition. Okay, number 2, visualizing your success. Why is that important? Last week we talked about organizing for success, why it's important to have a strong why, your goals, and how to organize yourself around that to be successful, prep, planning, and so forth. But why is it important to visualize success? Your thoughts and emotions drive what happens in the physical body. So in this case today, when I'm talking about visualizing success, I'm talking about success in terms of your optimal health or your perfect health. And your thoughts and emotions really control what happens in your physical body. So, I want to take you on a little bit of a journey. So when we come onto this planet, right when we're born, we really come in as two separate entities, right? You've got your physical body, which is kind of your vehicle, if you will. And then you have the energy that fills that body, right? Me, Pam, mind, my spirit, my energy fills this physical vehicle. And together, we have an agreement to work to do whatever it is that I'm going to do while I'm here during this lifetime. So my physical body is kind of like my vehicle that gets me around the planet and helps me deliver my gifts, my purpose while I'm here. And hopefully we have a good relationship and we work well together. But it is honestly me, the energy, the spirit, the mind that drives this vehicle. So if my thoughts and emotions are negative, chances are I'm having some negative experiences in my physical body. And I think the reality is, you wouldn't just go out on a Monday morning, hop in your car without knowing where you were going, right? Usually you've got a destination in mind. I'm going to work, or I'm going to the grocery store, whatever it might be. Yet many of us wake up in the morning, hop into the physical body, and no idea of what our destination is going to be. Haven't even thought about it. Not even sure how we're going to get to where we want to go, or do we even know that we want to go somewhere? And so I think that's where this process of visualizing your success comes into play. And I want to challenge all of you to do this, to use this tool, this power that you have resident inside of you. Begin to use this on a daily basis to move you in the direction of your optimal health, your perfect health success. And really, the best way to do that, or the best way that I have found to do that works for me, is to use a vision board type of process. Many of you probably heard of that. Maybe, at some point in some, project, you made a vision board. And that's what I'm suggesting, right? That we're going to use a vision board to help us sort of sort out what is that perfect health destination. It begins to help me think about, what does that look like, right? When I'm perfectly healthy, what does that look like to me? More importantly, what does it feel like to me, right? How does it feel? Because remember, it's emotions. It's not only what I think, but how I feel that drives my physical body in a certain direction. So the process of putting together a vision board, and I prefer to do it. I don't have a lot of time, so I do mine virtually. I use an app for my phone called Subliminal Vision Board. I'm going to put that in the chat right now. Subliminal Vision Board is a great app that you can use on your smart device that has an easy tutorial. It's fun. It's almost like a game, right? And allows you to create a vision board. For those of you who don't know what a vision board is, you can use a poster board or a piece of paper, or in this case, it's a virtual screen. And you basically put photographs, pictures, things that you either cut out of a magazine or get offline, or maybe they're already in your photo library. But you're basically populating this screen with photos that evoke the emotions that you will feel when you get that thing. So I'll give you some examples. On my board, I have a picture of a very strong, muscular woman who is doing a pull-up, a chin-up on a pull-up bar. That's something that's very difficult for me to do, but it represents strength for me. And the emotion I have around that is power and strength, which is very important to me. It's one of the things that drives my why on a daily basis. Why would I get up and bother to do a visualization exercise? Well, because I want to be strong and healthy and available to hike and to play with my grandchildren, right? Again, it goes back to what drives me to do it. So all of the pictures on my board represent the emotions involved in how I will feel when I'm at my perfect health destination, and strength is one of them. But there's all kinds: vitality, joy, freedom, being disease-free. How freeing must that feel? So regardless of where you find yourself now, point A, right, we want to look at where we want to go. Point B, what's our destination, right? Visualize that. More importantly, do that on a daily basis. Create your vision board and use that vision board on a daily basis to kind of steep yourself in those emotions. Even if it's just 5 minutes, on the particular app I use, there's a 5-minute subliminal exercise. And I just do that every day as part of my meditation process. And it's amazing, right, how quickly it can move you in a direction. And you can create vision boards for all kinds of things, right? If you're looking for success in your career or your finances or your relationships, this is the same process you can use. But I would start with your perfect health, because without that, you ain't got nothing, right? So visualize your success, guys. Subliminal vision board app, love it, but you can just do it the old-fashioned way. Go get a poster board and cut out some pictures, right? So super easy, fun to do. Get your family involved, but a super important tool I think you need to have on a daily basis. Okay, so item number 3, I kind of changed it up at the last minute. I was going to talk about brain health, but I had an inquiry from a client, a question, who she was very concerned about the ongoing virus updates that we're getting in the news these days, and a lot of discussion about underlying condition, and wanted me to address what that means and how that may impact her in particular, because she has a couple of underlying conditions. Blood pressure is an issue. She has an autoimmune condition called Hashimoto's, and so she's concerned, does this make me more susceptible? Am I more likely to A, get the virus, to B, have a bad outcome if I do get it? So I wanted to just give a virus update, if you will, and talk a little bit about what we know, what we don't know, what we need to do to help ourselves. So I think first and foremost, there is so much we don't know, right? They call it the novel virus. Novel means we've never seen it before. It's so new that we don't really have any information about what it is, where it came from, what it happens to us once it's inside of our body. It appears that it affects different people in different ways. Originally, we thought that young people weren't affected, that children didn't get it, and now we absolutely know that's not true. In fact, our cases across the country are increasing, and the statistic shows that it's amongst our younger population, probably largely because they believe that they really weren't going to get it, and they're the ones that are out there now not practicing their safe distancing and wearing their masks and so forth. I was in Long Beach this past weekend, and I went into Starbucks for an iced tea, and Starbucks has just like got it like nailed down, man. You got to wear your mask when you go in. You got to stand on these arrows. There's no tables. There's plexiglass in front of the employees. And, basically they've done every measure they possibly can to protect you and to protect themselves. Right across the street from that Starbucks on 2nd Street is a bar called Legends. It's a big sports bar, very popular. Packed, absolutely packed to the rafters, with not a person in there wearing a mask, and literally shoulder to shoulder. So it just goes to show you that, we might have opened back up, but depending on who you are and how you're making your choices and where you're going, you can't rely on business owners or people who are running the show out there to be the ones to enforce this. So we are seeing cases increase. We are seeing younger people now being clearly impacted. And we're also seeing that children are getting it. It's just that their symptoms look different, don't look like the flu. So we just didn't realize that that's how they were being impacted. So really, folks, everybody the possibility for anybody to get the coronavirus exists. The question is, my client had is, am I more susceptible? My answer to that would be yes. I mean, anyone who is already immune compromised or already, harboring any type of a health condition, whether that be diabetes or cardiovascular disease, any kind of an autoimmune condition, I think that we can assume that you will be more susceptible to the possibility of getting the virus. I don't think anyone can say whether or not those things would make it the outcome for you or your experience with the virus more challenging or increase your chances for death from the virus. But I think it does increase your susceptibility to potentially get the virus. So even more important for you to protect yourself. I think that we don't understand why some people get very sick and other people don't. I think we believe that it's potentially, there's some genetic underpinning to that. But again, guys, there's so much we don't know. So the fact that we don't know makes all of us then more responsible, or need to be more responsible to protect ourselves. So how do we do that? Well, number one, I think you have to be smart about how you reintroduce yourself into your society, right? I think that we do need to wear masks. There was a really good case study a couple weeks ago. I'm sure most of you heard about it, but I'm going to talk about it for those of you who didn't. It was a salon. I don't remember what state. The impression I got was it was sort of like a Supercuts, like one of those, mass They bring massive amounts of people kind of go through the retail establishment on a regular basis. There were 2 employees that were positive for COVID, of course, didn't know it. And when they did the contact tracing, they were able to establish that there were 140 employees and customers of that establishment that these people came into contact with. And what they found is not one of those people was impacted, did not test positive for COVID. And there was a strict rule in place with that salon that the employees and the clients had to wear masks at all times. Versus a client of mine, a young man who called me a few days ago, just tested positive for COVID. He was part of the sort of mass event that happened here in Orange County in the last week. Many of you probably heard about it in the news. It was a social event. Food was involved. Many people were there together, no masks. I think it was a promotional event for reopening some restaurants or something. And he was there, and that happened on a Thursday. By Monday, he was symptomatic. He tested positive. At that time, they also announced that a couple of the employees that had catered the event were positive. And now we see that many people who were involved in that are positive for COVID. And again, it was a enclosed situation. People were not wearing masks, and and so we saw what we call a super spreading type of event in that situation. So what do we do then? How do we protect ourselves? Well, number one, like I said, masks. I think be smart about what kind of situation you're going to put yourself into. Is it going to be an enclosed environment? Am I going to be around a lot of people? Are people going to be wearing masks? Are we going to be, distanced far enough apart? I think those are all things to consider, particularly if you have an underlying condition or already some kind of a health related issue, whether you're young or not, doesn't matter. You also have to be doubly diligent and responsible for your own baseline health, right? This is what I preach on a daily basis. It's like, we're upset because the virus is out there and it's affecting us, but yet we'll still stay up late, drink alcohol, don't eat right, don't exercise, don't take care of ourselves. You've got a responsibility to your own baseline health to take care of yourself so that you are less possibly affected by the virus, either getting it or becoming very ill once you do get it. So your baseline health is super important. If you don't have a daily self-care regimen, if you're not really doing anything to help yourself, you really probably ought to get started, because here's the deal, guys. It's not going to get better from here, right? If COVID is where we're starting at, the next thing that comes down the pike is just going to be bigger. So I would get started now, for you, getting a good self-care routine in place. If you're not sure how to do that, call me. That's what I do with everybody on a daily basis. Okay, so your own responsibility for your baseline health. There are things that you can do, especially once you have been diagnosed. In the particular case of this gentleman, there is a Chinese herbal formula. I've talked about it before, but now I've had a chance to use it with actual positive, ill people. And I can tell you that it has worked very well at reducing not only the symptoms, but the length of time that the person is sick. And so far, none of my patients that have used that formula have gone on to have the really significant hospitalizable side effects that we've seen with the COVID situation. So I think it's a good idea to have it on hand. I have to reorder mine since I gave it to my patient. But if you're positive, or someone who's positive, and you want to have access, or you just want to have some on hand, reach out. My contact information is there. Again, call 714-730-2233. So that's what you need to do. Masks, stay away from mass gatherings where there's not good protective measures in place. Really take on the responsibility for your baseline health, and know that there is a formula out there that we've been having some good success with. So there you have it, guys. 3 things that you need to know. I don't have any active questions right at the minute. I do have one. What was the name of the vision board app? It is Subliminal Vision Board. There are plenty of other apps, but I like that one because I like the Subliminal Take 5 exercise. And I just got another question. The Chinese herbal formula is called Silver Flower. It's a capsule. It is made by a Chinese medicine lab here in the U.S. back east. And it's really, it's easy for me to order it for you. They ship it directly to you. And it's a 7-day supply. Depending on how sick a person is, you can, take it up to a couple of weeks, and it usually starts working right away. My patient that was taking it had ordered several extra bottles, and he actually gave a bottle to someone else that was at that event who had been sick a couple of days longer than him and was pretty sick. And yesterday he sent me a copy of that gentleman's text back to him. He said, what was that stuff you gave me, man? It was like Houdini. I feel amazingly better. So can't say enough about, how well that can work. All right, everyone. Thank you so much again for tuning in every Wednesday right here, 9 a.m. I'll talk to you all next week.